All right, hello everyone. So, I hope you are well refreshed and how is it going? All good? Right, this is always very cozy. Lucky enough there's no sun today, so that's already good news. And we have a solution for this, which we will illustrate in like 10-ish minutes. So, before we even start, just one extra person here. So Francesca joins us from today. You will see her recurrently, and if you want to introduce yourself, I am in a no microphone policy usually,
okay.
So you should shout.
You will apologize me for my voice and everything. I'm here today not in my best shape, but I hope it will be fine anyway. My name is Francesca Fiore, as you mentioned. We are colleagues here at DISY. I'm a research fellow. It's now 4 years, I would say. Before I was working as like a designer for software for elders with Casati. I don't know if any of you know him. Now we work together in the creation of a new Fab Lab, and I would say that's it. My background is in sociology, so I'm not a computer scientist as a background. But like after a few years, I learned how more or less how to manage my relation or correlation with these strange guys. So I hope we will have fun together.
And she's doing very well, so I'm happy to have her here. So today the topic.
It was good to hear we are only strange guys.
Yeah, it's could have been much worse.
I wanted to be polite. And, it's my first time with them. I don't want to.
All right. So I think it's fair what we were planning. So today we're going to be talking about skills. When I say we are going to be talking about skills, I'm actually saying that you are going to be talking about skills. So let's get there to how we're planning to do this. So today's class is going to be a bit different with respect to the ones that we've done before. I'm going to illustrate how this works in a few minutes. But the first question, let's start with some general sense making of this topic in general. Why do you think we talk about skills in a course about innovation entrepreneurship? Yeah, let's start from here.
Well, without skills, it's also difficult to innovate something. I mean, if I don't know how to innovate, if I'm not specialized in something, I cannot try to find out improvement.
Right. It's very difficult to innovate without skills. It's very difficult also to be entrepreneurial without skills. Can you folks give me examples of skills in general? Random order, no really need to raise hands, just shout them. Communications, yes, what else?
Problem solving.
Creativity, problem solving. Time management. Leadership. Stress management. What else?
Teaching.
Pitching or teaching? Teaching, okay. What else? Agility. Technical skills, yes. Pitching.
Being aware of like what is happening around.
Awareness and sense of what's happening in the world, yes. So I think one thing comes out of this thing, which is there is no single bucket in which to put these things. You've said some very specific things. Pitching, that's a very technique-oriented kind of skill. You've seen some, like, you've said some much broader ones, communications. You've said something which are like buckets for very practical things. Technical skills, I think we could say like programming, you know, they might be very narrow, very specific. But the point is, it's not the matter of just one single field, right? They don't take one single field of study, they don't take one single field of, society, they take all sort of things. So as you will see, this thing of skills is something which goes kind of across the various dialectics and discussions that are happening. It goes across education, politics, it goes alongside policy, sorry. It goes in the academic world, it goes in the business world. This is not just something that narrows one specific set. So in the next 3 to 4 minutes, I just want to show you some frameworks that have been proposed for skills. I will not spend too much time like discussing them, because then we will move on to something more live where you will do something. So this one here, and you will I want to show you a number of things, and then I want to get some reactions from you, okay? So this wheel here is the Entrecomp, the framework for entrepreneurial competences proposed by the European Union. So you see some of the words that you have been saying like appear here, because there's creativity here, there's spotting opportunities, so being aware of the world. There is something about critical thinking. There is coping with ambiguity, uncertainty, and risk. This will be a lecture in the future. Taking the initiative, right? So you see all these things.
Time management.
There's time management. Yeah, planning and management. So this is coming from the European Commission. Okay. Another one. This one is in the OECD. Okay. This is a reinterpretation of the OECD skills for 21st century learners, something like this. And you see transdisciplinarity, sense making, another keyword for the future. Let's say one of the lectures. It's the resolution is really terrible, but I'll diffuse these things. Design mindset, cognitive load management, so something about stress. So yet another thing. This is something a bit older from Microsoft, Intel, Cisco. Again, 21st century skill. Again, OECD theme. You see communication, collaboration, teamwork, ICT literacy, creativity and innovation, critical thinking, problem solving, learning to learn, metacognition, right? So these sound like a bit like word salad. Life and career skills, core subjects and 21st century themes. So this is this P21. This picture, you see it a lot if you are into this kind of policy and business field. And then there is this one, which is another one. This is by McKinsey. I didn't put the word here. And this one is again very broad fields: communication, collaboration, creativity, research. So just in these 2 minutes, what have you seen? What are the things that you see here? The main themes, feelings that you get, ways in which these things are presented. What are the common themes? What are the unique themes? What do you see in this mishmash of frameworks and stuff? Do they agree?
Who believes they agree? Raise your hands.
Okay.
A minority.
Who believes they disagree? They say something which is quite different.
No,
Well,
raise your
they
hand.
were very
Raise your
brave.
hand. We saw you.
Who thinks that these things are precise or accurate? Who thinks they're very loose and ill-defined?
Too many questions.
So no,
No,
they are
very
catching
active,
up.
very active.
So how would you make sense of this? What is from all these various things that you see here? What are the common elements that you see? What is the signal among this big noise? Snippets of signal. What do you see here? Yes.
Skills are shared.
Sorry?
Skills are shared.
Skills are shared. Some of them are, let's say, in more than one framework, and even from more than one sector, right? So creativity is basically everywhere. Okay, what else?
Interconnection.
There are interconnections among the frameworks, you mean?
No, I mean you need to have communication skills.
So there is always something about skills that allow you to connect with other people, right?
Like management skills in a sort of way, like even if I don't want to be a manager in any case,
Let's put this one, which is the biggest bucket. Yeah.
I can use this skill to manage my work or to work with other people.
There is always a managerial element. Yes, this is very true.
Working with information and data.
There is always something about the making sense of data and orchestrating information. Yes. What else? Actually, this will be a big topic later on in the course. In the courses.
Dependency.
Dependencies. What do you mean?
One module is dependent on other somehow.
Yeah, they try to outline in some way interdependency among the various elements that they put. There's always a bit of this idea that you have various layers, nesting of layers and so on. Yeah.
I went to see leadership, like how to lead other people.
Okay, there are elements of leadership very often. Yes, I agree. Taking the initiative, working with others. I'm sorry, the resolution is not too high. I'll read them for you. What else?
They are all soft skills and they can be applied
apply to any environment.
Yeah, they are, you call them soft skills, and they are, let's say they are horizontal. They don't take just one field, they take all fields. Actually, we made a very deliberate choice not to call them soft skills for this lecture. And you will see, when we draw some conclusions, you will hear a perspective of why we did this decision. We took this decision. Yeah. What else?
There is one of the framework which like quote ICT literacy. That is a spirit of borderline. You are completely ICT, so your skills on ICT are very high. So on ICT literacy, all of you are super expert. So on that, that would be a technical, vertical type of, but is not in all of them. So that's a peculiar one. Digital.
And do you see these? So if you think about the OECD, right? The OECD area, so the areas where OECD has enough. You know what OECD is?
No.
All right. Does anybody know what OECD is? And they can help me with the acronym because I'm terrible. Organization for Cooperation and Economic Development. Something like this.
Right.
For Economic Cooperation and Development. Right?
Yes.
OECD. So this is a big policy organization, a big bucket organization, which kind of makes lobbying and orchestration. Well, they do one big thing, which is gathering of data. In Italian, it's called OCSE. Maybe you know it by this name if you're Italian. Because all of you probably had to do a silly test at some point in their school where they had to like fill a lot of like very narrow questions to try to test their understanding of text and so on. So they do a lot of data gathering, and they do a lot of, let's say, lobbying and politics at a very high level. They are in the European Commission. They have some like very tight contacts there. The UN. They're a big policy organization. Right. So these things come from all over. We've seen they are mostly horizontal. They're loosely defined, we said. And if you think of all the world in which they can be seen, do you think they are uniformly applied in the world? So do you think like time management is equally done in Italy as it is done in Germany as a skill? Of course not, right? There is a big diversity in this. So you will be able to maybe dig up some numbers and some things. Right, so today we want to kind of do a shared exercise, okay? So we will be dividing you in columns. So this is basically column 1 plus one of two of the gentlemen there, column 2, column 3, 4, yada yada, okay? And the left wing of the class, at least from my perspective, will come with myself and Francesca to room A208, okay? Which is like down the corridor here. The rest of the class will stay here. And you will work in this kind of big groups, and we'll ask you the following. Take one of the skills that you find in these frameworks or somewhere else. We'll try to give you a link to the slides. And you should take time until, I have very precise timekeeping. You should take time until 3:30, so you'll have more or less 40 minutes, to discuss these skills in the group by row, okay? And then you will have, each row will have 5 minutes of class time in which they can do whatever they want to present this skill to the rest of the class. Okay?
You should pick one.
You should pick one and only one. You should decide this and communicate it in the class once we separate the groups, right? So that we don't have 5 presentations about creativity or whatever. Okay? You should pick one and only one and take time to research this and to find a way to present it. We have some guiding questions, which are the following, okay? If you want to take a picture, otherwise we will distribute the slides also. These are some guiding questions, some things which we think you might see them as relevant. Okay? So, this exercise is ill-defined, yes. Okay? In the same way that these skills are ill-defined. We're not giving you a precise way on how to proceed. If you want to do slides for 5 minutes, we can do slides for 5 minutes. If you want to do an activity with your colleagues that illustrates this skill in action in 5 minutes, you can do a skill in action. If you want to pitch it like if it were a startup, you can pitch it as if it were a startup. Just stay within 5 minutes. Okay? Right. Do we have questions on this process? Here all together, otherwise we will split and then we can have more questions.
One note could be that if you, for example, choose communication, one team on this class will choose communication. You have like 3 or 4 or 5 frameworks to look at, okay? Because communication is in almost all of them. If you choose for ICT literacy, which could, for you, one group could be relevant, then you have a bit less sources because there are less frameworks that quote ICT literacy, just for your knowledge.
But you will be able to dig any of these keywords. You will be able to dig piles of information. All right.
Could you show the skills again?
Yeah, I will try to give you the link to the slides. Maybe Chiara, you can help with putting a link there.
Is that you keep that computer in the other
Exactly,
room.
exactly.
I will use my computer here.
Exactly.
If you need, we scroll it and
Okay.
we project them.
Another thing that we would like to ask you is this. For each group, in the end, try to get us one link that we can add to a library of references that we'll have at the end of the slides to distribute, okay?
So taking the initiative means to be the first to do something. For
Please
example,
listen.
the first one to present. So we are taking the initiative here. Taking, what's I? Okay, so the first question is, how is taking the initiative relevant to I&E?
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Taking initiatives is relevant to take advantage, to take risk, to take time, and to enter into saturated markets, and so on. So, taking initiatives is so important. One, to enter into saturated market, to take advantage, take risk and time, and so on. Thank you.
Thanks. The second question is, where can we see taking the initiative in action?
So, the action can be seen in everyday life, because in everyday life we take the initiative to do something. For example, to form a group for for a task like this. But we can also see it in markets, both in underdeveloped markets where we have the need for new ideas, and in overdeveloped markets where we take the initiative in order to also bring new ideas and to innovate something that already exists. This way we also take risks. For example, Uber or other companies took the initiative in order to enter the market.
The next question we face is, who are the key features of taking an initiative?
Okay, so do you know who are the key actors? Any of you? Okay, so you don't take the initiative. Basically, the one who take the initiative are courageous, brave people who want to take risks, who are passionate also about what they do, and they truly believe in their idea and what they will come up with.
So how is taking the initiative normally developed?
First of all, you need an idea, and you need the bravery to propose your idea. And also you need passion to continue your idea. And also it's necessary that you have you are an expert in the domain of the development of your idea, because you can't say, okay, now I want to fly in San Francisco in 3 seconds. It's impossible.
Yeah. Thank you. All right, so how can taking the initiative be developed in the digital age?
Okay. We think that taking the initiative in the digital age is easier, because it's easier to find new people who are willing to follow us with our idea, and it's easier to find new funds via, for example, crowdfunding. In the digital age is even easier to be inspired by the environment and to watch other ideas.
So when is the term applied incorrectly?
Yeah, we can say that you're not able to reinvent something like the wheel. You cannot come and say, I reinvented the wheel. And the second thing is that you have to do that with a good aim, because if I say, yeah, I take the initiative, but I'm going to kill someone, it's not very good.
So how can taking the initiative be applied to this day and the future?
So in the future, it will be maybe easier, maybe it will be harder, because we tend to have many ways of doing things, many objects, many people to do them, and usually innovation, but sometimes innovation comes with when the ways of doing something are
1 minute
less than the
Just
previous, and usually maybe going against the current state of the world is part of taking the initiative and innovation, and people who are willing to take the risk very well know that.
So to wrap it up, we believe that taking the initiative is a very important skill for everyone, not just innovators and entrepreneurs, and we encourage everyone to practice it daily. And we created a nice mind map that you can photograph or copy as you like.
Okay.
Thanks for listening.
10 seconds. Please take a picture of that. Please take a picture of that with the team, because I think the others they want.
Well
done.
It was really nice.
Okay, our group topic is financial and economics.
Number 5, financial and economics.
Yes, literacy. But who doesn't agree that financial and economic literacy is quite important to a company? Now imagine that you are a developer, or we are all developers, but you have an amazing idea, an app that is enough to attract so many users by investors. And how would you how would you persuade investors to give you money? Let's imagine you're starting from the zero. You are creating a new company. What you need to do is to make a market analysis. How big the market you are. In this case, you need financial knowledge to attract investors. And once your company is formed, you are no longer in an incubator, and you starting your own company. And you need to choose sites and offices, and every facilities costs money. Now you need to manage them. And when your company is growing, you need to employ more people. That you need to pay them salaries. How to calculate your income and expenses, that's quite important. And the most important thing is you need to satisfy your investors to show them that you have a promising future. What you can do is show them numbers, financial numbers. And to managing a company, once the company is formed, it's quite important when the company is going to the markets and starting earning money and giving dividends to the investors. Now you need to invest more money in different departments and starting your own financial departments. And it's time for you to do more startups, to invest money to other companies. And for other questions, I will leave it to my teammates.
Okay, why is your skill relevant to innovate? How this skill is relevant to our innovation and entrepreneurship? Financial knowledge is must for any entrepreneur. An entrepreneur with a very good idea is nothing if he or she doesn't have any knowledge about the financial status or the economic situation of his company or the business he or she is going to start. And of course, he or she need to analyze the competitors. And other thing is, the good thing is to analyze other businesses which are successful and get ideas from them. Financial knowledge is must for any innovation. Okay, another important point here regarding innovation is that any invention can turn up into innovation once it provides you the benefit and it can penetrate in the market. Thank
2
you.
minutes left and still 5 answers to give. Okay. So please fly over.
Okay, how is normally developed? Very simply, it's like studying the successful businesses that are already developed and learning with different methods. You can learn that at university by doing courses like this, but also on the internet, on YouTube, there are many things to learn. And also on job training, You have a job, you can learn how to develop your business, and very important, the last one, learn from mistakes. Mistakes from other companies and from your own.
Okay. Skip the details and fly. 1 minute and 15 seconds.
This is the last. So when is the term applied spuriously? We found that the financial knowledge can be applied spuriously with fake financial reports to attract the investors and make them invest on your company, whereas you have some financial problems. And the last point is you can utilize your financial knowledge not deeper, so you can use the financial knowledge bad by not avoiding bad investments because you don't go deeper enough in the financial analysis in the market analysis of the company you are going to invest in.
Okay.
It's all. That's all.
Perfect.
So first topic question. Why is creativity skill relevant to I&D? First thing we thought about, it's because it's an horizontal skill, first of all. So you can apply in every field you can think about. For example, for companies or also individuals. And what it helps creativity to find? It helps to find new ideas. So for example, in companies, that's more a practical thing. It helps people or company in formal companies to find new products to help engage their customer. And then also creativity helps to look through problems in a different way, so from a fresh angle. And for example, in a way no one ever did before. Then it also helps to have a better representation of some topics. And also you can also think about an evil part. So for example, some topics that is not that interesting, and with creativity you can change it in a more interesting way and maybe change the ideas. And then also it helps to create an energetic audience, and it also leads to cooperation, because with creativity you can help the member of your team group to express themselves at their best. So, and also it helps all the team to work better. Yeah, and that's all.
Okay, so the second question was like, where do you see it in action? Creativity is eternal, it's everywhere. Like you at the age of 3 are encouraged by creativity. But basically we can use it to involve people in our idea. We can solve problems with a completely different manner. And usually startups and marketing mans and advertising uses creativity in many different ways. And I think it's crucial that every other fields uses creativity. So everything needs creativity to be perfect.
Well, let's now talk about who using creativity. Well, creativity is mainly used by artists and designers, but also by some other technical roles, such as project management, that you needed to use creativity to solve a specific problem. Also, startuppers use creativity, students, and everyone can use the creativity in their daily life to solve their problems or find new solutions.
Okay, now how it's normally developed. 3 words: new, different, and lazy. New means you need to see something new, like you learn new skill, you go to a new environment, you see some new, you experience something new. Different means you see some different opinions, like in Facebook, in YouTube, you like something, but you also need to see something that you may not dislike and you may not agree with. So that means different. And also lazy means sometimes you need to be lazy, like it is those people who don't want to do the calculation for 100,000 times that invented computers.
So next thing is how we can develop creativity in the digital age. So everything is going digital, and writing and reading the new blogs you can improvise your perspective towards industry, what other people think about a particular problem, and how you can give your contribution in that. So this is how you can actually improvise your creativity level and perspective.
The next question is when term is applied in an improper manner. The term is applied in an improper manner when someone introduces something new based on already existing ideas. For instance, when new mobile phones are introduced in the market without showing new ideas but only improving the performance technological, and of course when someone do plagiarism.
The last one is how can it be applied now versus the future. Actually, creativity changes the future. Creativity can create a new future when we are using the automation or technology on our creativity. Then we have more time to use it in improve our life or our better future. That's it.
And that's all. Oh, very good.
I would like to close this with one point. There are many minds with different creativity level on the same boat. So this is future.
Very cool. Thank you.
Okay, so our topic was motivation and perseverance. We looked up for the definition of motivation, but I'm not even going to read it. What we understood about it is that motivation is like the strength you have inside when you face a decision and you have to choose the right path that follows and leads you to making your business or your idea and not the bad part. And the perseverance is like the motivation seen for the long term. We can look at it as when you're going to run a marathon or a very long career, you have the initial motivation of, okay, I'm going to finish this, I'm going to have all the motivation, but after 5 kilometers, you have to keep running, not with motivation. Your motivation stays at the beginning. So you have to keep running with perseverance. Maybe 10 kilometers, you have a glass of water and the motivation keeps going. But at the end, your perseverance is the only thing that helps you to achieve your final goal.
Okay, why is this important in I&E? It's because in order to be a good entrepreneur, you also have to motivate those who work with you and share your goal to them. So we just linked it with this word, fail fast, learn faster. In most startups you fail a lot. So in order to, you keep failing and failing, but you also learn from this. So you have to be, have a good motivation and also apply perseverance to your ideas in order to achieve them. And also transmit your goals to those who work with you in order to reach your end goal.
So the key actors could be anyone who has an idea and is ready to follow it. For example, the leader who motivates himself but also motivates the others. In fact, in a moment of weakness, the peers can motivate the leader. So it's important that motivation is mutual. So it's important to be surrounded by people who are motivated and can motivate also the leader.
And of course, motivation and perseverance are really cool, really good things, but not everything is smiles and flowers. There are some misuses. For example, when you have a goal that is unreachable and you keep motivating yourself trying to reach that goal, and you keep failing and you keep failing and you keep failing, of course, because that goal is unreachable, and that's the reason of why you should aim your motivation about to the right goal. And you have to adapt yourself, readapt, and be careful about the goal that you choose.
And that's all. Perfect.
So, hello. As you can see, we are quite a few in this group. So I am the voice of this group. And I will just tell you some of the key points that we discussed. And first of all, we started with the definition of ethics, and that's already a mess. because we had a lot of different ideas when we searched on the internet, and there are other ideas. But what we came up with is that the definition is subjective. So what is ethic for a person can be not ethics for another, and vice versa. And with respect to a company, it's how the society expect a company to act respect to them. And after that, we saw some example of the ethics in action, and we tried to differentiate a good example and bad example of ethics, which was, as I told you, kind of difficult. Some of good example were the Tesla and Amazon, who used electric cars, which are ethics respect to the environment. And some bad example are, for example, the Nike Society that build shoes from the kids, and the data privacy problems of companies like Facebook and others. And then we discussed about why ethics is relevant in the I&E, and we said that it's a good marketing strategy, and it's used related to the laws, and is used fearing the consequences if they don't follow the ethics. The company don't follow the ethics, and then the end of our discuss it's related to this fear, because the companies don't have ethics; they just aim to the money.
That's all.
That's all.
Okay, so guys, we just prepared something different for you. So, but first,
Working with others.
Yeah, working with others. So let's have an introduction to it. Working with others is a really important skill nowadays, just because it allows you to reach goals which you wouldn't understand all alone. So, in this way, using the skill, you can delegate the work and just using each people's skill set at the best. So let's see some pros and cons of it.
So let's see a few advantages of what working with others, teamwork can bring. First of all, having different persons in a group can bring different points of view, because each person might have a different perspective on a certain topic, and collecting many of those can have a big variety of opinions. Many people can have also different skills, and the combination of these can solve complex problems. Finally, the work can be divided, and tasks can be assigned to different persons. So working in group can help you to solve complex assignment.
Okay. But working with others doesn't come from free, and we identified 3 common problems. The first is a lack of initiative. Like we saw on the first presentation, initiative is very important, and we can't imagine a day of work when the team comes in the workplace and nobody starts to do something, because we need to have a schedule that somebody needs to prepare. If nobody does anything, we can't publish a product. The second is disagreements. Is like the opposite of the first in some case. For example, if a technical team needs to build a product and everyone wants to use a different product, different technology, and then if every single developer starts to develop the product with his technology, then it will become a mess, and it's very difficult to build a product. And the last is the lack of individual responsibility, and we all face this sometimes when you ask your colleague to do a task, and that colleague doesn't provide the result of the task the next day, and is a lack of responsibility. And now let's see an example of how working with others can reach a goal.
We thought that the best example of how teamwork, a good teamwork can bring a good result is Leicester City, which is an English team that until the year before was viewed as a bad team because it was always in the last position, but thanks to a good teamwork and with a good will to reach their objectives, they managed to win the Premier League in the year successive year. So let's see a practical example of how teamwork can bring good results.
Hey, you look so cute. Can I have your number, please?
Yes.
But I don't have a piece of paper. Oh, thank you very much. But I need a pen.
Okay.
If I have a pen. Oh, so write it down, please.
Ah, okay.
Very easy. Thank you very much.
Bye, see you.
Okay, but I need a phone to call a girl. Oh, thank you. So let's go. Yeah, that's now. Come on.
Hello?
Hey Maria, it's me.
No Maria here. Sorry. This that you have just seen is an example of how collaboration competition can work, but collaboration can win with a bit of luck.
Oh.
Okay, so our skill was learning through experience. So let's start from the definition directly from Wikipedia. Experiential learning is defined as the process of learning through experience, and it is more specifically defined as learning through reflection. So this is something that we can see in everyday life, not only in work perspective, but also in academical and in the everyday life. As a kid, for example, a kid can learn that a particular object is hot. When touching it, he burns himself. And here we put a famous quote from Einstein that the only source of knowledge is experience.
So experience is very important. Here you can see the recommended ratio in learning. So 17% is experience, 20% is feedback and coaching, and only 10% is formal training.
Experience is not everything, because considering this cycle, we can interact with this in every step, because the most important part is the reflection, the reflection or observation about the experience. So you conceptualize the topic, and after that you analyze it, and you can experiment it and do it better. In this case, you consider the risk. So it's not only for summarize it. You can win or you can learn. So it's not always a bad thing.
In action, you can see learning by experience in education and in companies.
Pause it a second. Okay, it's back.
In education.
Don't touch it. I won't. Go.
In education and in companies. In education nowadays, you can see it through projects in university that have real-life applications. And you can also see it in societies and sport clubs. They teach you about teamwork through experience, and then they have committees that work like a member of like a board of members that can run the club as you would in an actual company. In a company, and also it is in relationship with the companies. They have internships now, and so the experience that you learn, even though you haven't finished university, you can apply it in a company. Also in a company, you can see it in different levels. Newcomers learn by experience. They apply the knowledge they have by making mistakes or getting things right. And older members experiment in different areas to make sure that they can advance in what they already know and experiment if things work or not.
How we develop experience. Okay, of course we have we just individuated two points about developing experience. As we said before, it's something natural. Natural because, for example, when you're a child, you touch something that is very hot. You learn that you don't have to touch it. So this is how it was shown before in the pyramid of learning through experience is like the 70%. Then we have the other 30%, and it's about stimulating, like coaching and things like that. So I have an example of a system. This is the that is the buddy system. Buddy system is in companies usually used for training a new employee. Like we have junior employee, a senior employee. The senior employee acts as the buddy trainer and shares experience and try to involve the junior employee in a process of learning by doing. So this is open a lot of yes, it's open a lot of interesting fields of searching about intending the experience as a resource, but we analyze how to take in action this particular stuff.
And that's all. Thank you.
All right. So, welcome back, everyone. This is it's interesting how this room is an oven, independently from the weather, from the number of people that occupy it, and so on, because it's always very warm. So, people that stayed here, did you have some time to do some stock taking or not? You just finished with the presentations? Yes. All right, good, very good. So we had some time in the other room, but I don't want to go too much into this. The point I would make is this. Let's now focus a bit on meta reflections. Okay, so reflections about the process and reflections about the topic that we covered. Okay, so you saw some presentations. Probably you might have seen something which was interesting. Most likely you have seen something which you already knew, and which was not incredibly mind-blowing. But the point is, you fit this into a process which was unknown to you before. Probably for the people that were in this room, I guess you will be mostly on the right-hand side, but I think it's mostly. Was it the first time you were presenting in front of a class? No. Okay. Actually, last year we were saying some people it was the first time. Was it the first time you were asked to make a presentation half an hour with 12 people you never knew before? Yes. Probably yes, right? So you have seen how much of your mental energy went into that. In the other class, it was interesting because we had some very good presentations, I think, for half an hour of time to prepare them. They were all frontal presentations. They were all people speaking. So their overhead, their mental energy went into making sense of where they were going. And they had to fall back to having some space, some safe space. The safe space to make, a decent job.
We also had the theater play here.
That's amazing. I lost things. I was in the wrong room, clearly. So we want to draw two quick conclusions. First, what you have seen today. So there's people of you. Historically, this course has been mostly hated by people that are in telecommunications engineering. So I respect this, but I have bad news for you. And the bad news is the following. So when you hear people rambling about skills, you think this applies to you if you're an entrepreneur, if you want to open a startup, right? Well, that's not true. Because first of all, you will see, especially next Monday with Milena, entrepreneurship is not just about opening startups, it's about intrapreneurship, it's about entrepreneurial mindset, even when you're operating in an organization. But the worst news for you is that since we have seen this as business literature, this means your CEOs are reading this shit, okay? And they're passing it to the HR managers that are the ones that are recruiting you, okay? So even if you want to be an employee, these are things they will ask you, even if you don't believe in them, right? So having a class is a safe space to be acquainted with this before an interview, or before they start throwing these things at you and you say, oh, what is this crap? But yet you have to make sense of it, okay? The second point of conclusions is something I would leave to Andrea to say about these barriers we were discussing yesterday.
Okay, my first experience of job was at Fiat Research Center, maybe I told at the first lesson. And what is interesting there is that if you go in such a big company like that, maybe in startups can be that, well, in startup, if the startup is yours, you decide whatever you like until it's legal. Until it's legal. But if you are not in a startup and you are in a corporate, for example, Fiat Group, Fiat Chrysler Group, Fiat Research Center is only 2,000 people up of a group that is 150,000 people. So it's all around the world. And if you wanted to reach a certain level, so there are called level, in Italian is livello 0, 1, 2, 3, you reach level 7. After level 7, you are quadro, which is a sort of intermediate level before arriving to be an executive, which means a dirigente for the Italians.
Manager, executive.
No, manager is,
okay.
is lower. Executive is higher.
Ah, all right.
You can be a project manager without being an executive. So reaching not only dirigente level, but even the quadro level, so the one immediately before, you needed to have at least a master degree. Without master degree, you stop there. It's a simple rule of a corporate. So for you, you are already an advantage. But this is something that let you reach that level. But what is interesting is that it is necessary, but it is not sufficient. Because to reach a level of quadro or executive, you need to have a lot of these skills, despite you have a degree. So it is necessary to have a degree to reach above that, but you need much more. So to be sufficient, you need to have other skills.
So the trick here is to balance between the technical skills that we were saying before and the hard requirements, which in some sense work as barriers within organizations and within different legislative contexts. And then these soft barriers, which are not there, they're not clearly stated, but if you can't overcome these soft barriers, you are stuck in the exact same way. Because if you can't connect with your manager to talk about your advancement of career, you might have a master's degree, but you stay there. Okay? So this is a very short conclusion of this.
Harsh but short.
Harsh but short.
And as a take-home for today, you can also start thinking, which are your skills? What are you good at? Or what can you improve? Because this is the time that you have to work on it. It's not just about learning stuff, learn something about coding and so on. This is something you will do anyway. But what else? What can you work on? What can you improve? And where can you find these skills? Actually, you can even use us as a leverage to find some more skills. So use us also as tools.
And you will see patterns, okay? You will see patterns, which means that since you are good at something, you will keep doing that thing. One of the things that I think university is decently good at is allowing you to break these patterns. So if you are bad at speaking in public, you should better speak in a class rather than in front of executives that can fire you. All right, so next steps. This is what happens on Monday, okay? Wednesday we will tell you on Monday, we'll have parallel classes. Monday we have a plenary lecture here in A205, okay? So we'll be, let's say it's here unless we find a better room, which fingers crossed, but you know, never know with admin. So in the meantime, we give you a certainty, which is that we have this room, okay? So plenary lecture with Milena on entrepreneurship, technology entrepreneurship. Different ways to see technological entrepreneurship, okay? I&E Basics, you will be communicated in the coming days in which battle group you are. 1 to 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Battle group number 1 will have a battle preparation in room 204. I didn't put the room, but I will put it later. Room 204, but we'll say it again to you on Monday, okay? For around 1 hour. IBICT, you will have a battle preparation, not here, but probably in one of the rooms upstairs. We will book it for you anyway. And you will also receive a communication about what your group number is, okay? For everyone else, at 5:30, we'll book a room upstairs in Povo 2, and we will kickstart the process that we were saying of the social sharing, you know, of the sharing of your passions and so on, which we were discussing last time. Probably we'll have some tea and whatever. We'll be in a very cozy room. Those of you that want to be there, feel free to be there. Those of you that cannot be there, don't want to be there, think that we are annoying, please don't come. It's fine. We don't track you. We don't kill you. It's completely up to you, okay? If you want to share this, it's okay. If you don't want, there's no discrimination, no pressure whatsoever. We don't keep a note of who is there, who is not. Please, this is not our style. Also because there's 120 of you who will not remember who you are, most likely. Sorry. All right. Lastly, EIT Digital students, are you here?
Yes.
Right. So I will need to run to another class, but I would ask you, please, those of you that want to, tomorrow there will be some hard physical work to do because the kickoff is happening here in Trento, as you know. And tomorrow, 20 big boxes of like t-shirts and sweaters are going to come here to Trento, and nobody is there to move them around except for Anelia and myself, which is like 2 people for 50 boxes. So if any of you have some time tomorrow afternoon to move some boxes, like half an hour, we would very much appreciate it. Maybe you can leave to Andrea or to Chiara your name, and I will be in touch, okay? In the afternoon, I don't know precisely. I will make a Telegram group and try to figure this out. You have lectures? If you have lectures, it's okay. If you have time to help us with this, leave your name here, and then we'll have it. All right. Any questions on this? On all that happened in the last 2 hours? Yes?
The soft and the hard barrier, which one was which?
Hard barrier, you don't have a degree, you can't go over. Soft barrier, if you don't have the skills, you will still not be able to go over.
Okay, thanks.
Any questions? All right. If not, we will see you on Monday. Ciao.